In Champions League Group Stage Matchday 1, we have some big results. Diani with a brace for Lyon to help lift them 3-0 over Galatasaray. Wolfsburg fall 1-0 to Roma. That came on a penalty, too. Darian, you're eyeing these up. What result stands out?
The City-Barcelona game was the match for me that stood out because Barcelona cannot handle a press.
Ooh, Aaron, what about you when you look at these results?
Obviously, City-Barcelona, that was a big one. But Bayern-Arsenal, as an Arsenal fan, it was honestly not surprising because the way things are trending, but that was the one that jumped out to me.
Yeah,
what about you, Carlin?
Fell 5-2. That Arsenal game was crazy. Yeah, Bayern Munich just turned up the heat. But City-Barcelona, that was a big one. Ultimately, Manchester City win 2-0 over Barcelona, handing Barca just their second loss in over 50 matches. This was
That's an insane stat.
Insanity. And a lot of it, Darian, had to do with the defensive structure of Manchester City. How did they ace that test?
They pressed from the 18. Anytime Barcelona was trying to play out, they let them make one pass out to the outside of the 18 and then started to organize press, overshift, crowd around the midfield. Of course, there are times when Barcelona got out because they're so technical on the ball. Yes, they can break you down. Yes, they play a lot of one-touch passes. City is a fit team and so physical. And this is what I was looking forward to, is that Barcelona are not used to playing teams that don't give them that much respect. That respect them too much where they sit back.
Right.
I mean the opposite. And City came out and just put the pressure on. And yes, they are super technical, but when you're constantly looking up and there's 10 blue shirts shifted over to this side of the field, you're bound to cop the ball up. And we just saw that over and over again. And City was relentless. And they just looked good.
Yeah.
They looked so confident.
Shaw too.
Shout out, Bun Bun. You killed it. That run she made it, I think, 8 times before. The in and out run to get that ball finally paid off.
And it was on all day.
So they played such a high line. That tactic actually really didn't make sense to me. Why would you do that with Bunny Shaw at the 9?
What would you do if you're Barcelona defensively?
Sit back a little bit more. You were giving her all of this space to just kind of drift and wait for a ball to pop around between one of the seams of the defenders. And it happened numerous times. They got lucky to pick the ball off of her, but she was bound to put one away.
That was the game plan for Bunny?
Yeah, I listened to the post-match interview, and she talked about how I was telling the girls, just give it to me. I feel really confident getting in behind. And she times her runs really, really well. She knows that she's confident when she finishes. It looked like a scuffed finish, but I think I watched it over and over. It was such a good finish. It was
a lot of finesse.
A lot of finesse. She knew exactly where the keeper was going to be, where the defender was going to be. She slid it across the face of goal. But I think what you said about respect for this City team and this Barcelona team, I think there's a couple different ways that the teams show respect when they play a really good opponent. One of them is to be afraid, is to sit off and to just let them do their thing in awe. And the other way to show respect is to respect what they can do and try not to let them do it. And so much respect to Leah Alexandre, to Alex Greenwood. They were so physical. There were a couple moments when Alexia Putellas got so frustrated because of the way she was being mistreated in the best way.
Bodied.
She was getting bodied. Yeah. They didn't show them the fear of backing off. They pressed hard. They tackled hard. They ran their socks off. They showed what you have to do to beat a Barcelona team. You have to be almost perfect. You have to work so hard. You have to maintain the levels of concentration for 90 plus, and I think they did all of those things.
We touched a lot on the Bunny Shaw goal. That was the second for City. The first one coming by Naomi Lazel in the 36th minute, and Shaw's coming in the 77th. But for Barcelona, it's not like they didn't create anything. They had 17 shots, 6 on target, 7 corners. Where did they fall short offensively, Darian?
They looked frustrated. Really frustrated. And yes, they had times where they got in behind, but it all came down to the physicality piece of getting hit hard. It's frustrating. Alexia Putellas, at the end of the game, I think her and Greenwood hit on a corner.
Got into it.
Got into it, but it was like,
but she was
it was probably like the least harmful one that happened, and she was just over it. Yeah. But I think that got into their heads, and then they just lost concentration in moments where you typically see them finish, you typically see them make that pass. You typically see them move the ball a little bit better, and nothing came of it. And you saw even Bonmati, too, look pissed off for most of the game.
Most teams
and then they all got the whole midfield got subbed out.
Most teams will let them play. They're just kind of in awe of them working their triangles. But City was like, no, we're mean and nasty. We're going to show you.
Yeah, they'll let Barcelona make 10 passes just like this without applying any pressure. They had no time to do that. They're getting hit if you're passing the ball that close.
It flustered them a little bit. And at times when Barcelona did press against City, they were so calm. It just swing the ball around, look to go in behind. Oh, match day 1, and we're already getting the best.
Can I tell you one thing that hurts? Jonas Eidevall said that he didn't think that Vic Mueller really had it. And she looked like she had it. I don't think that he really rated her enough when he was at Arsenal.
Yeah.
And she showed she has so much
led the
quality.
team.
The way that she plays in between the lines, Hasegawa, her
she was
so good.
Fantastic.
This City team, what I saw last night or yesterday, they could win it. They really could.
Ooh, I like that.
They just knocked off the best team in the world.
Yeah, that's true. But Barcelona could not be the Giants that they were the year before.
It could be City.
It also could potentially be Bayern because they had an awesome game, 5-2 over Arsenal, and it was pretty evenly matched, right? It was a goal up for Arsenal, Caldente gets one, and then Bayern equalized right before halftime. Then they get a second goal, then Arsenal equalizes in the 65th minute. It was really back and forth until about the 70th minute, and then Bayern just took over. They grew stronger, Aaron. What was it about Bayern Munich that continued, that they got better as the game went on?
Yeah, I think that two things happened. Bayern grew into it. You could see they came out in the second half with an extra energy and extra fervor. I think Arsenal lost it as the match went on, whether that's lack of belief in each other, lack of belief in the everything going on in the Arsenal dugout, everything going on there. But a big thing was Bayern's physicality, their crosses, the lack of quality defending from crosses for Arsenal. Eidevall talked about that after the match. They really, really defended crosses poorly. And Pernilla Harder is an incredible player. Yeah. She has been for a long time. She's such a sharp, her movement in the area is so sharp. Her finishing is good. She's crisp technically. So a world-class player like that, when you give her those kinds of chances and when she's on and locked in like she was, man.
For Pernille Harder, I mean, this was she got her first European goal, then she got her second, and then she got her third. A hat trick for Harder, all in 13 minutes. 2 of them with their noggin as well. Pretty impressive. The XG for Bayern, only 1.89, yet they scored 5. That is consistency. But Arsenal, Darian, where did it fall apart?
They looked so good. Like you said, it was very back and forth until the second half. I think Arsenal got into a place of complacency in the match that Bayern snuffed out and totally took advantage of. And that's McCabe going forward, really up high with Ford, which they looked good in the attack. And then it left them so vulnerable in transition. And defensively, defending crosses, defending corners, they were so out of sorts. Playing ultra aggressive forward, you have to be so good at box defending, and they were really poor on the day. But shout out to Pernille Harder, because one of the smallest players on the pitch, getting her head on the end of everything. I turned around, she scored another freaking goal. I was like, my God. Yeah, it was impressive.
What did the graphics say? Hard in the paint? Clever.
Very clever.
Our graphics team around.
Shout out.
Another big game that was in pouring rain. These conditions look terrible for Chelsea taking on Real Madrid. Chelsea win 3-2 ultimately. But what did you notice throughout this match, Aaron?
I want to touch on what Lucy Braun said after the match, and she's obviously come over from Barcelona. She knows she's won this trophy before. She's won Champions League. She said if they play like this, they're not going to win. Lack of concentration. She felt that they let off after they scored, and it was a warning, one of those heavy warnings that she sent to her teammates. She said how she was yelling at some of her teammates during the match. They were losing concentration, but this team has the quality to win. I think they're going to go through a pain period of trying to figure out exactly what Bon Pastor needs from them, wants from them, the little tweaks that are different between her and Hayes to get them going. But if they play like that, moving forward they won't win, but this is one of those learning experiences where you get the win, you get the 3 points, but you know that you have to be better.
It started early for Chelsea, an own goal, right? I think it was deemed an own goal. Ultimately, maybe Newskin got a touch on it in the second minute, and then by 27 minutes, Chelsea doubled their lead. But Real Madrid continuously came back and fought. They were never out of this match. But we have now seen a number of 90-minute matches under Sonia Bonpastor, the new head coach for Chelsea. What are the weak points, Darian, that fans should be concerned of with this Chelsea side?
Defensively. They just look so leaky in the back. Yes, they're sending numbers forward. They look dynamic. They have a lot of goal scorers. They're going to go 1v1. Lauren James, she's an amazing player. You can't count on her defensively, in my opinion, because she is a player that has the ability and freedom to drift, which is great for her style of play. That's amazing. But it leaves a lot of pockets of space that, especially when Linda Caicedo came in, exploited. Her going 1v1, drawing people out, it opened up massive gaps where Chelsea weren't doubling down, weren't filling in. And I think that that's something to really look out for, that they don't have it on lock defensively just yet.
What is the most confident that we're seeing in Chelsea? Like, where do you feel the most confident in what Chelsea is giving?
I feel that most games they will be able to outscore opponents. It's just going to be when they face elite competition, will they be able to keep the levels of concentration, organization, work ethic, everything that comes to being a good defensive team. I don't know if they have that. Also, I think it affected them having not played for 10 days. Bonpastor said that not to make an excuse, it might have been an excuse for them.
It throws off your rhythm. Yeah, it does.
It does affect you, but they have a lot of work to do on the training pitch, I think.